What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my crypto journey. My name is Rodney, and today we have some Saitama news for you. So the price of Saitama continues to tumble. And also, Jake Gagan, big old YouTube influencer, offers an apology for his actions on that night. Now, we'll get into all of that, but first, I want to talk about the price action right now because I did not think it would dip down this hard. Now, a lot of people are selling on the back of what was a pretty much lackluster Saitamask release event. Well, Saitamask wasn't even released, but those of us in the community, in the sphere, we understand that Saitamask wasn't going to be released yet because of the CertiK audit was not done yet. That is the gold standard when it comes to security audits in the cryptocurrency world, right? We want to make sure that that is done so people who put their money on Saitamask can feel secure about it. Now, what I think happened is that the team of Saitama, right, the development team, everyone thought that, hey, by November 13th, the audit would be done. Well, we knew a couple days ago that that wasn't going to happen. We knew that CertiK was still doing their audit. They're very thorough. They're very expensive. They're the gold standard. So I understand why it wasn't released when it was released. So it makes sense. Now, they could have just released the app, but they didn't. They decided to wait. And I think that's a good idea because if one person loses their money on the app, then it's like, well, if one person loses their money, what's to say that someone else couldn't lose their money? Cryptocurrency right now can be secure, but it's really susceptible to scams and people trying to steal your money and those sorts of things. So Saitama Guru, the COO of Saitama, even said that I wouldn't feel comfortable with even one person losing their money. So I understand that, but the price continues to tumble. Luckily, Saitama Guru is going to be going on a live stream today, I think with Steve Rocket Crypto, about everything that went down. Hopefully they address some of the problems and stuff like that. Now, one of the developers, Nam Tran, came out and apologized pretty much for what was a very unprofessional kind of showing we had. Now, here's the thing. I'm not some Saitama fanatic, right? I invested a lot of money in Saitama because I believe in the project, but I'm not gonna sit here and howl on screen and go crazy. Like, my channel's not all about Saitama. I cover other I like cryptocurrency as a whole. I'm not a fanatic. So if something's wrong, I'm gonna call it out. I'm not gonna pretend like something is good. The event was bad. Some of the influencers were just not the best people to have streaming your event. It should have been more professional. I understand they didn't let a camera crew in the actual place. The MGM wouldn't let a camera crew in. But if I'm the Saitama development team, I'm not going in there without a professional camera crew. Why even do that? And if we're not going to be able to get in with a professional camera crew, why let anybody stream it in the first place? Have one guy that's dedicated to just streaming the event, just sitting there still looking at the event screen, right, with a phone. None of the Wolfpack howling stuff, none of the panning around, none of the bad service, none of the not being able to hear what was being said. Like, it has to be more professional. Because here's the thing, I understand Saitama. I understand the use case and the longevity. I understand it's going to be something big. But your neighbor Tim, right? Say your neighbor Tim, hypothetically, that you've been telling about cryptocurrency for years, and he hasn't bought in yet, but you've been making so much money on Saitama, right? So you tell Tim, hey Tim, invest in Saitama, it's making me a lot of money. How about you come over and watch the release of this big app they have for their cryptocurrency called Saitamask. Tim says, you know what, Crypto Journey, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna watch it. So he comes over and then we see people doing the howls and the unprofessionalism, the guy forgetting how to talk and getting nervous on stage, and it's showing on two TVs, and someone forgot to put the sound on one of the videos, and the lag between the guy on the TV and the people doing the Q&A, and it was just very unprofessional. See, I was expecting like Steve Jobs type deal, right? Where it's a big stage, a big old PowerPoint, he has a little clicker PowerPoint presentation. That's what we wanted, right? Something professional so that Joe down the street understands like, hey, oh, okay, this is a professional. This is their plans and stuff like that. We didn't need all that, what they did, right? So I understand why the price is tumbling like this, is because a lot of people who were invested in it, or even some whales, are manipulating the price right now. And a lot of people that maybe were turned on by Saitama are now turned off because of the lack of professionalism in that entire presentation. Now, I think they will address the issue. I think they will fix it because I think they're a very smart team. I'm not touching my money. I'm leaving my money in there because I believe in the project. That's just me. Not financial advice, but that's just what I'm doing. So the price tumbling is a little concerning, but long term, I think it's going to be fine because even if you zoom out, look at all the positivity, right? We got some bumps right here, but long term, I think it's going to be good. So let's go over and check out the Jake Gagan news because that's pretty interesting. So this is Reddit. So Jake Gagan says, I want to apologize to the entire Saitama community for the unprofessional live stream last night. I should have enjoyed the Saitamask event off camera and let the team handle the streaming. I take full responsibility and will learn for this. See, I don't really knock Jake Gagan too much. I know I had a live stream yesterday and a lot of people shared their opinions, and he has taken a lot of heat. If you go to any of his actual posts, you'll see that people are just lighting him up in the Twitter and on Reddit and everywhere pretty much, right? But he came out and apologized. What I didn't like yesterday is that people were acting like nothing happened, like nothing was wrong. Like we were all in happy, happy sunshine rainbow land. Like the event went perfectly. There's no backlash on social media, but Jake is coming out and say, hey guys, I'm not a zombie. I recognize that, you know, people are upset about the event. So it's pretty cool that he did this. He didn't have to do this, right? He could have just pretended like everything was fine, but shows like, hey, he's human, right? You know, he's a big YouTube influencer, but he's human, right? So he understands like, hey man, I was a little drunk, you know, and so it's cool that he's apologizing. Now, is he responsible for the price of Saitama dropping? No. A little bit, maybe a little bit, because of the fact that the whole cringeness with the camera phone and the howling. But at the same time, if I'm the Saitama dev team, I take responsibility because I should not let YouTube influencers be the middleman of me trying to get new investors. I know who Jay Gagan is. I know who, you know, Zach Humphreys is, Austin Hilton. I know those guys. So I understand like, hey, these guys are fanatics, you know, they're fans. But to Joe Smith down the street who's trying to get into Saitama, right? Who's been investing in a 401k for his entire life, right? Who puts, you know, 5% of his income every paycheck into a 401k, who's used to standard professional investments. Seeing that live stream is not good for him. It's not appealing to him. He doesn't like that. We need a person who can communicate to the public, you know, in a very professional, no nonsense, very articulate, punctual kind of person, right? That's what kind of person we need to kind of bridge that gap between, you know, the Wolfpack and then the typical investor. Willie D, I think he's great for making partnerships, you know, but like when it comes to like talking to people, I don't think that's the best person. We need more people who are more professional, I think, in my opinion. I think that's going to grow their brand. Now, say what you want, you know what I mean? I'm not the expert in this, but I think that they need more professionalism in some way, shape, or form so we can get other investors, the everyday investor, on the train. Because here's the thing. We know how good Saitama is. I know how good Saitama is long-term. But we need to get that typical person who's really on the fence about it to invest in Saitama, and we need a more professional kind of middleman to do that. So we got to figure that part out. It's cool that Jake Gagan apologized. I know people were really upset mostly with the fact that he was asking for donations and stuff, even though he was getting tons of donations. I'm sure he made like $50,000 during this whole event. If you looked at his live stream, you see donation after donation after donation. So the fact that he asked for donations like 3 or 4 times is a little cringeworthy, since like you're a big YouTuber and you're probably not hurting for money. But asking for donations to buy people shots, I think, was probably the biggest thing. Now, I like Jake Gagan. I mean, it's like, dude, he's just making money. He's a young kid out there, you know, tearing it up, making money. Can't knock the guy, but it's cool that he came out with an apology, and I understand why people are upset, and he understands that too. So good for him. And of course, you know, the rest of the news about the whole timeline of Saitama. So they have like a little layout right here, which is pretty awesome. They have a roadmap for the project and plan, so that's pretty great. You can check that out. We talked about all this yesterday, really. Some of the good news, because there was good news that came out of that event, right? Dynamic staking, 5% stable and some dynamics. So that's pretty awesome. We all like staking, right? So a cold wallet for you, and it looks pretty sweet actually. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think Saitama is going to be all right in the long term, and I especially think it's going to be all right after today's live AMA with Saitama Guru, and then the eventual release of Saitamask in the next 2 weeks. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.